Ada and Chloe taking the mic, exploring the world deep and bright. From mysteries to things you know, dive in with us, let's start the show. Deep dive, let's take a look. Stories untold like an open book. From Emma Publications, here we go. Adam and Chloe steal the show.
Have you ever felt that just crushing weight? Like your entire world has just, well, shattered. Maybe a loss so deep it felt like, I don't know, a piece of your soul was literally ripped away.
Yeah, that pain you can't even really put into words.
Exactly. The kind that leaves you feeling like you're drowning in sorrow, and even taking one single step forward feels just impossible.
It's a place far too many people know firsthand. Those moments where tragedy hits and it doesn't even feel real, does it? More like some awful fading dream you're desperate to wake from.
Right. You wonder, will I ever really genuinely smile again?
And in that raw state, when you're feeling so exposed, those well-meaning cliches or hollow words people sometimes offer, they just don't cut it.
Not at all. You need something real, something that gets it, something that understands how dark that darkness really feels.
Which is exactly why we want to do this deep dive today. We're looking at a really powerful book called Life After Tears, Finding Purpose and Healing After Grief, Loss, and Tragedy.
And the author is Mmapule Mokwena.
Yes. And this book, it's not written from some, academic distance. Not at all.
She's incredibly open right from the start, isn't she? She shares how she personally walked through that valley of the shadow of death, questioned God, wrestled with her faith, cried until, she says, literally no more tears were left.
Wow. And yet here she is, alive, healed, restored. That's what she shares.
And that journey from the absolute depths to restoration, that's really the heart of this book, isn't it?
It absolutely is. The core message is aimed squarely at anyone who's walked that same dark valley of grief. It wants to be a guide.
A guide through the raw stuff, the pain, the doubts, the anger.
Exactly. All the unfiltered reality of it.
Yeah.
But guiding you towards ultimate restoration. It's really about finding purpose after the pain.
Okay. And spiritual recovery too, right? When your faith feels like it's just in pieces.
Yes. Finding healing that's really anchored in faith. That's central.
So who specifically is this book for, did she say?
Oh, she's very clear. It's for, grieving hearts, trauma survivors. Anyone who's lost a child, a loved one.
Or just something so precious, it feels like that piece of your soul she mentioned being torn away.
Precisely. And she also includes pastors, counselors, ministers, people who walk alongside others in their grief.
Okay. And what makes it different? Because there are, a lot of books about grief.
That's true. But this one promises not cliches. It's about walking with you through the unfiltered, raw realities.
Not just talking at you.
Right. And it's deeply rooted in biblical insights, lessons drawn straight from Scripture.
Yeah.
That's a huge anchor through the whole journey she lays out.
And practical, too. I think I saw a mention of steps.
Yes, there's a step-by-step process for healing. And it's woven together with these powerful real-life testimonies.
Including her own story, which is incredibly profound.
Absolutely. Plus, you get things like powerful prayers, practical advice on common mistakes to avoid in grief, even an FAQ section.
So our goal here in this deep dive is really to unpack some of the most crucial insights from Life After Tears.
Yeah, to show how healing and finding purpose truly are possible, even after the most devastating loss, and how faith is just fundamental to that.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Let's start with that shattering moment, the one that really propelled the author's own journey.
Right. So Mmapule Mokwena recounts the just devastating loss of her firstborn son, Boy Chapo.
He was only 5 years old.
Just 5. And it happened on what seemed like a completely normal Sunday. They were at a church branch, and her husband, Pastor Goodman Mokwena, was actually preaching that day.
I just can't even begin to imagine leaving home as a family of 5, husband, wife, their 2 sons, their nanny.
Expecting a normal Sunday, a blessed day at church.
And then returning home.
Yeah.
Missing one.
That image she paints, leaving as 5 and coming back as 4. It's just shattering.
Utterly.
And she describes the immediate aftermath of Boy Chapo, drowning the shock, this feeling that the pain wasn't just inside her, it was everywhere.
In the silence, the memories.
The echoes of his laughter, now gone. Nothing could touch that hollow ache inside her. Her whole world just irrevocably changed in an instant.
And her husband shares his side too, right? That shift from peace to just sudden, desperate panic when they realized Boy Chapo was missing.
Yes. He talks about that unbearable moment, having to sign the papers for his son's body at the mortuary.
Oh my goodness.
The phone call to his brother where he could barely choke out the words, "My son is no more." And then just that suffocating silence in the car driving home, everyone wrapped in this shared, profound grief.
It's so clear right from the beginning, this isn't just a book about grief, it's a book born from it.
Absolutely. That deep, personal, lived experience is the bedrock of everything she writes. She's guiding you from a place she herself has survived.
And that experience, it leads straight into the core message, doesn't it? That grief changes you profoundly, but faith is what sustains you through it.
Yes. The book doesn't try to sugarcoat grief at all. It argues, grief isn't some phase you just get over.
Right, it becomes part of you.
Something you learn to carry forward. It doesn't vanish, but you adapt. You learn to live around its presence.
That's a powerful way to think about it.
It really is. And her husband shared this moment of realization they had amidst the pain, that faith isn't some kind of magic shield that stops bad things from happening.
No guarantee against pain.
Exactly. True faith, he realized, is about holding on to God, even when pain is all you can feel, when everything else feels like it's crumbling down.
Wow. So this loss really forced them to confront that hard truth about suffering. The book suggests grief will either break you or build you.
Yes, it emphasizes that choice. There's a choice in how you respond. You can choose to lean on God, to allow that immense pain to refine you, not just define you.
And choosing that path means facing the really raw realities of grief, which the book doesn't shy away from.
Not at all. It dives into the intense, sometimes physical nature of that pain, uses these really vivid analogies.
Like drowning in grief.
Yes, or feeling like you've lost a limb. That phantom limb sensation where you still feel the ache of what's missing, what should be there.
And the physical side, too. The exhaustion.
Oh, yeah, the fatigue, the anxiety, that constant muscle tension grief can cause. It acknowledges all of that.
Triggers, too. That must be incredibly hard.
Huge. Her husband shares this incredibly poignant memory. The silent garage, where Boitchepo used to run out yelling, "Daddy!"
Oh, man.
And now just devastating silence.
And Mmapule talks about visiting friends whose kids are growing up, hitting milestones. Boitchepo never will.
Yes, that constant battle between finding comfort in friendship, but also facing that sharp pain of reminder.
Memories being proof that love was real, but also sources of fresh pain.
It's such a complex part of grief. And grief can build walls too, can it? Not just around your own heart, but in relationships.
The husband's fear about loving their youngest son.
Exactly. He admits he was afraid to love him as deeply after losing Boitchepo. Almost like keeping a distance might protect him from more pain somehow.
But does fear really protect you? The book seems to say no.
A resounding no. Fear doesn't protect, it robs you. It starves your heart, starves relationships.
Love is what makes you whole.
Right. And his wife's loving, direct confrontation about that fear, that was a breakthrough moment for them. Helping him see that avoiding love wasn't protection, it was actually hurting him more.
And then there are those questions, the really hard ones that come up.
The book is refreshingly honest about those too, like questioning God directly, right? Why didn't you protect my son? I was doing your work.
Or questioning faith itself. How do you preach about faith and then feel so powerless?
And the self-blame, the guilt, those endless what-if loops.
So what's the book's approach? Just bottle it up.
No, quite the opposite. Be completely honest with God about all of it. The messy, painful, confusing feelings.
And then?
Emphasize releasing the burden, letting go of those what-ifs, the regrets, doing the incredibly hard work of forgiving yourself, forgiving others if needed.
That kind of brutal honesty, it feels necessary for moving forward.
It really does. And that leads into the part of the book she calls God's Healing School.
I like that image, a school, like it's a process, a place you learn and grow through it.
Exactly. It stresses that healing isn't instant. It's an intentional journey with God.
It's about surrendering the wounds, giving them to the healer.
Yes, that radical act of surrender, creating space for his presence to come in and do the work you simply can't do on your own.
And within this school, there's a framework that's 7 steps.
Yes, the 7 steps to healing from grief and loss. Not like a rigid formula, but more like a pathway towards wholeness.
Can we touch on a few of those? What stood out?
Okay, well, step 1 is acknowledging the pain. You just can't suppress it. The book is clear. Healing starts when you face it head on.
Pain buried alive never heals, right?
That's the phrase she uses. Then, crucially, you invite God into your grief. You deliberately embrace his healing presence.
His presence being the anchor.
Yes, the anchor that stops you from being completely swept away. The strength to just survive the silence, the storm, She quotes
It's
Moses.
from Exodus.
Yeah, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. Just highlighting how absolutely vital God's presence feels when you're broken.
Makes sense.
Releasing the burden,
Yeah.
surrendering the pain to God. And this isn't a one-time thing. It's described as ongoing,
Yeah.
continuously letting go of the what-ifs, the regrets.
That weight that keeps you stuck in the past.
Exactly. And then, really importantly, lean on a support system. You are not meant to walk this alone.
Healing happens in community.
Yes, not in isolation.
Yeah.
It takes courage to let people in friends, family, maybe professional help.
Yeah.
Unity in the family, especially marriage, is highlighted as so important.
Okay, so as you go through these steps, a major theme emerges. Turning pain into purpose and
Yeah.
finding hope again.
Absolutely. And Mmapule Mokwena's own life becomes the illustration, registering for a degree in her son's honor. That's a powerful choice for forward movement.
While still grieving and balancing everything else. Mother, wife, minister.
Right. It underlines that choice again. Pain can paralyze you or it can propel you. She clearly chose to let it propel her into something new.
And remembrance fits into this too.
Yes, but framed positively. Not clinging to sorrow, but honoring the life, the legacy. The book reminds you, memories aren't just painful, they're proof that love was real, that love is real.
And all this is fueled by hope. By faith in a future beyond the immediate pain.
Definitely. That Jeremiah 29.1 quote comes up. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope and a future.
It's a promise.
A promise that faith doesn't erase the pain, but it empowers you to move forward through it.
And the idea that the pain that tried to break you can actually become the platform that builds you.
Yes, that's such a compelling idea. Your scars, they aren't just reminders of hurt. They can become like a roadmap for others lost in that same valley, a testimony to God's power to redeem even the worst things.
The book sounds like it also offers really practical stuff too, based on what she learned.
It really does. There's a whole section on common mistakes to avoid. Things like suppressing emotions, isolating your...
Trying to rush it, using unhealthy distractions.
Yeah, or neglecting your spiritual life, holding on to unforgiveness or regret, refusing to get help. Knowing these pitfalls helps you navigate better.
And just lessons learned, things she picked up along the way.
So many valuable ones. Grieve honestly, don't walk alone, release the what-ifs, look for meaning, accept that grief changes you.
Simple presence being more powerful than words sometimes.
Yes, and choosing gratitude, even when it feels impossible. Talking about your loved one, embracing memories, letting joy and sorrow somehow coexist.
And that idea that grief is a process, not a performance, that feels important.
Very. You don't have to pretend. And healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means peace can find a place alongside the memories.
The FAQ section sounds helpful too, addressing those common questions directly.
Definitely. Like, is it okay to question God? Yes, honestly. Is there a timeline for healing? No, it's unique. Is feeling numb? Okay, yes, sometimes. Can you really find purpose again? Absolutely, yes.
And prayer, that's a big part of it.
Huge. Prayer is presented as a powerful remedy for a broken heart. The book includes specific prayers for strength, for peace, for remembrance, for releasing guilt.
Prayers for couples going through it together, for breaking cycles of pain.
Yes, and prayers focused on the hope of heaven. It really covers a lot, grounding everything in that connection with God.
So ultimately, the book keeps pointing back to God's presence, his promises.
As the anchor. Promises of strength, comfort, peace, hope, purpose. Verses like Isaiah 41.10, I will strengthen you and help you, or Romans 8.28, in all things God works for the good. They're presented as lifelines.
Okay, wow. Let's try and sum up some key takeaways from Life After Tears.
Well, first, grief is just, profound, incredibly painful. But this book powerfully argues that healing, restoration, finding purpose, it is possible with God's help.
And you are definitely not meant to walk through it alone. Support is vital.
Absolutely. Faith is that anchor when everything feels like it's shifting under your feet. It helps you hold on, even without understanding why.
And that devastating pain, while it changes you forever, it can be transformed. It can become a source of purpose.
Remembering loved ones isn't about staying stuck in sorrow. It's about honoring life, celebrating love, and finding peace alongside the pain.
And through it all, God's promises and his constant presence are there to sustain you. That's the bedrock.
This book feels like it's written with such love, specifically for anyone wrestling with grief, loss, broken dreams.
Yeah.
offering that faith-rooted path forward.
And what makes it stand out, really, is that it's not offering easy answers or platitudes. It's raw, it's honest, deeply biblical, practical.
And grounded in that incredibly powerful personal testimony of the author herself, navigating unimaginable loss and bravely choosing life, healing, and purpose again.
It makes you think. Your tears aren't wasted. Like the psalm says, God collects them.
And he can use your story, your pain, your healing, all of it, to bring comfort and hope and light to someone else walking that same path.
So if you are walking through grief, loss, or tragedy right now, and you're searching for that real, lasting purpose and healing, that anchor in faith,
we really do recommend checking out Life After Tears by Mmapule Mokwena.
you can find it easily. Get your copy today on Amazon.